Hi there, and welcome to Fan Service. My name is Wee Claire, and this is the podcast where we talk to some wonderful guests about what makes them a fan. And today I am sitting with, virtually, it's the wonderful Nicole Tompkins. You may know her from Resident Evil. It's Jill Valentine, everyone. Hello, Nicole. How are you
Hi,
doing?
Claire. I also have Aslan here. Just she's the true celebrity of this household, so.
Yes, Aslan's so cool. Aslan doesn't even care that she's on a podcast right now.
No, she's just like, whatever, it's snap time.
I don't have a cat with me right now. I have a meatball.
I
Um,
like Meatball though. Meatball and I think we would be cool.
Nobody knows, but Meatball and Nicole go way back, way
Oh yeah,
back,
totally, totally. He's
way
got a whole
back.
song. I sang it lots.
Nicole, let's get straight into it because Streamily is all about the fans. So, what makes you a fan?
So many things make me a fan. I mean, I've always been someone who's like super inspired by other artists, by other creatives, and watching people kind of like world build and bring community together through a shared story or a shared narrative. I think it's incredibly human. So I definitely grew up being like a total book nerd. I fanned over like book series. I read a lot of dystopian fiction and like fantasy and all of the kind of popular young adult novels of the era. But I did a lot of reading, and then kind of by extension from that, then any sort of like the offspins of shows or movies. I was a huge. I always say like one thing I'm totally a fan of is the BBC show Sherlock. I'm a huge
Oh,
Sherlock fan. I
got
had
you.
a giant teddy bear gifted to me once, and I named him Sherlock. And my best friend had one too, and she named him Watson. And then otherwise, I also have friends that have just been like huge fans of certain things, and I've felt very like wrapped up in that fold of just being excited about, different stories and
Yeah.
ideas and characters and aesthetics as well. I think aesthetics plays a lot into, I don't know, creating community and creating a vibe that we're like attracted to.
100%. We're going to talk about the community aspect a little bit later, but let's stick with, when you were younger and you're reading all these books, you're watching these shows, was there something in particular that struck your imagination and made you think, I want to be a creative, I want to act? Was there something there that kind of struck a chord?
Ooh. I mean, I was doing a lot of musical theater as a kid. So, like, alongside all of the reading, I was actively already kind of performing and doing musical stuff. So, I definitely was the kid that would like pick books and be like, I could play this character or I could play this character. And I would like read them and I'd be really excited because I'd be like, well, you know what? She's like 17 in the book, so I have a couple years to like get everything off the ground before I'll be like the perfect age because I'll have like read it when I was way younger. So fun stuff like that. I definitely read books and was like, well, I could play her, or like, no, I don't have her hair color, but maybe I could, dye it. So it definitely set the imagination on fire because I was like, surely when they do the adaptation, like it'll be me.
And of course, when you start learning how to be an actor and you start really delving into the craft, you've got to watch performances to kind of like hone your own performances and get into it. Was there anyone in particular that you thought, my God, I want to be just like them? Like a film performance, something that made you really go, whoa, that's what I aspire to that.
Oh man, I think it came to me as like attraction to things before it was like I aspire to be that. I didn't look at things and go, I want to be that, but I did look at things and go, oh, I really like that. Like I'd love to do that. So like little Nicky really loved Peter Pan from like the 2003 version with Jeremy Sumpter. She had such a crush on that and Wendy in that and just like that whole like fantastical energy. So I do remember watching that movie many times and then all like the behind the scenes stuff with their wire work and things and being like, I want to do that. Like, and I had done a musical production of Peter Pan as well. So like I knew the story really well and I was really excited about that. So like I remember like watching that, and then as I matured, I think my appreciation for performance definitely sort of deepened and evolved. And it's just so hard to like pick one, person that you really admire, but one of the ones that crept up on me, and I mean, she does have lots of hype, but I'm always like, she needs to be mentioned more, is I think Michelle Williams is fantastic in just everything I've ever seen her do. And I also feel like she does a lot of very different kinds of characters, and she'll just pop up in certain places sometimes. And I remember, yeah, just watching, some of maybe it was like her performance in Manchester by the Sea. She had like one scene in that, and I
Mm.
had seen her in other things before that, but I remember seeing that scene in Manchester by the Sea. And the movie as a whole was very like, ugh. But her performance in that one scene, I was like, oh wow, it is so impressive the way she shapeshifts and the way she shows up. So that's someone I'll highlight today. Ask me any other day, and I'll give you six other people that have like done performances that have inspired me.
That's the thing about the craft of acting. It's like I think about this with music, and I'm unsure if it's similar, but you can tell me. I've been playing music for as long as I can remember, well over 2 decades, almost 3 decades of playing music. But I learn something new every single time I pick up the guitar. Do you feel that way about acting, that every single time you do a role, you're learning a little bit more about yourself or something new?
I also think maybe this isn't always true. I think there's certain things that you get really confident with, but I feel like every time I pick up a role, there's always just that little gap of like I have the expertise, I have the experience, I'm totally capable of doing this, and also it's new, it's scary, and it's that feeling of like no idea what I'm doing. We're gonna find out, and we're gonna find out together. And I think that's the same for a lot of creative processes. I think you can have your 10,000 hours into being a musician or a physical artist or anything like that and still like come up against a new project or a new piece or a new thing and be like, whew, all right, buckle up. And I do love that. So I definitely learn something in every role. And I often will like learn things about yourself, which I also think allows you to understand others better. So I learned things about myself and humanity, and definitely when taking on characters where you're like, whoa, this is far from the decisions that I would make. This is far from who I am based on how I perceive and make decisions in the world. And yet, I absolutely can see and create and understand how these decisions were made. And the gap between us is so interesting, and yet I feel so, protective and
Mm.
passionate about it. You learn to really love the things that you're working on, or at least you hope to. I always say you got to find something to love about them, about the
You
people.
talked about that gap. You're like, I have all the knowledge, but there's always this little gap, of like, there's a little bit more maybe that I don't know. I can relate a lot to that with everything and anything that I've ever done. But for some people, that stops them from taking a leap. What is it that kept you making that jump over that little gap to find out more? Because that's quite frightening for some people, but
It's scary. I think it's
yeah.
scary for everyone. I think the unknown is scary. I think fear of failure is scary. And I think if you ask any artist, one of the things on their list of things you have to get good at is taking no for an answer if you're definitely doing this as a career. And also just like you don't have to call it failure, call it feedback, but you have to be willing to be bad. You have
Mhm.
to be willing to have a bad take. You have to be willing to be like, well, I just want to try this. Let's just see what happens. And it may totally not land, but you might find something that really works, or a moment that's like, oh, actually, I am going to take that from that weird serial killer take I decided to just throw at the wall for fun. Like you learn so much from that type of play. So for me, with that gap, when you hit it, it's it's a lot. It's scary. I think everyone kind of, you know, sort of works through their own mental health when it comes to creativity and art in their own ways. I will use affirmations sometimes. I will go back to the basics. If I really hit a space of fear, I think just hitting that, like, I am enough. I am enough. What I am now here is enough, period. So whatever else it is that I am scared of, like, I'm enough. And what I have to offer right now, right here, is the best that I have to offer right here, right now. And I may be able to offer better later, or I may get better later, but right now, this is enough. And so that's one of the ones that I think I go to in moments of like, "Ugh." And it's a good one. I think it's really powerful and really important. And I think a lot of people relate to that one because it's so easy to doubt yourself. It's so easy to let the inner critic win. The voices in your head that are negative and scared. And the other one that someone told me a long time ago, I'm such a ranter, sorry. The other
No,
one
go.
that I love was fear is always going to be a part of life. We're programmed that way. It's there to indicate things and set us in different directions. And it's really important. It's feedback. And just not letting fear drive. You just can look fear in the face and personify it a little bit and be like, hey, you can come. You're welcome to come, but you're going to sit in the back. You're not going to drive and you're not going to be the passenger. You're going to sit in the back. You can come. You're allowed. You can be here, but you're going to sit in the back and I'm going to continue to move forward. And so a little bit of that personifying fear in that way, I think was powerful for me because it gives you a little like, hey, I embrace you. I see you. It's not go away. I hate you. You're awful. It's I see you. I see your presence and your purpose, and you're welcome to come, but I'm going to need you to stay quiet.
I
And
love that. I love that. And I feel like you saying these things out loud, and I've obviously watched your streams and things as well, when you're talking about, things that are in the back of your mind, fears, normal things that people can relate to. I think that's the sort of, honestly, that's why you've built such a lovely community of people that will follow you, not just because of your work, but now because they just like following you and watching you crochet, watching you play games, watching you be dorky on stream and wholesome and whatever else. How do you feel about your community? Do you think that's why they follow you? They came obviously probably for Jill Valentine, but they stayed
for
for Nicole.
label, yeah, whew, it's such a just like blessing and strange position to be in because obviously, how do I feel about it? I have so much love. I have so many people that have just offered me such beautiful support and energy and glimpses into their life and sharing and coming and showing up and supporting my work and my art and the things that I'm passionate about. And that just means the world. All we want to do as artists is make stories and hope that it impacts someone or someone likes it and enjoys it or it makes them smile or cry or laugh or heal. Those are all things I'm so passionate about. So just the fact that I have people that are willing to like let that exchange of energy happen is so valuable to me. So why they come or why they stay, I'm like, I hope that's individual to you. And it's definitely a passion of mine both in my work and in my life to kind of live by some of the values that I try to share. And I'm by no means perfect, but if I can just bring a little joy or a positivity or a new idea as I'm processing, because I'm superhuman and I'm learning things I'm superhuman. No, I'm very human and I'm learning things every day and it's cool to be able to be in communication with other people that are passionate about life and art and similar interests, video games and whatever else, and be able to share that. It's kind of like a group growth. You just feel connected. That's a rant, but like that's how I feel. I just feel very very grateful. There's been so much powerful yeah, like positivity and exchange of ideas and enthusiasm. That's what I'll say.
And there's a lot of people that have, they follow for games and things, but they've also bought things from you, like your crochet stuff, and like obviously they love getting signed prints from you at conventions or via Streamily. We'll talk about Streamily, of course, in a moment, but I wanted to ask you, was there anything super nerdy or anything you did as a fan when you were younger? Like, did you collect anything? What posters did you have on your walls? I had, I'm trying to think what I had. I liked collecting autographs from like Disney, people dressed up as Disney things like Goofy and stuff like,
Oh, that's
and the,
so precious.
and the Rocketeer showing my age. And on my wall, I had like Fight Club and those kind of posters
You're
when
just
I was a
cool.
late teens
Oh,
person.
why are you just so cool
I
though?
really liked Edward Norton. I had a big crush on him, but only when he was beaten up, like only when he was like
Oh yeah.
bruised.
Oh
Like
yeah. Dirty.
I was a
Nice.
really messed up teenager. But
Um,
what about you?
what posters? I was not a huge I wasn't a huge collector of like fan items, though I had lots of like toys and things like that that I, like played with, enjoyed. So I guess that's kind of a collection. I had horses, like Briar horse. I was a horse girl. It's fine. Posters on the wall. I had like a Les Mis poster. I definitely had a Peter Pan poster at one point from the Jeremy Sumter film. And now I have like plays. I love collecting plays. I love my play collection. Getting inspired by writers and playwrights, especially, is really fulfilling to me. So now I'm like, I have plays and plants. That's what I collect now.
I love that. And I had Fight Club and an electric guitar. Like I was like, oh
Yeah, but
God,
you're just
man.
like hot and punk, so whatever.
I was so
Some of
like,
us
oh
weren't
God,
as cool as you, Claire. Some of us were singing show tunes and trying to not annoy our friends or
oh
be,
God.
you know,
You know what?
precocious.
I found some diaries in my mum's basement before I left Scotland. Well, I was visited Scotland before I left the UK.
Yeah.
And every single diary, I've been keeping diaries since I was like 8 years old, and I still keep them now. Every single diary is about there's some kind of boy. There's always a boy. I'm always tortured. I'm
Oh,
so from the age of 8, Nicole, it was
love
very
it.
tiring.
Love it. Love it.
Oh
I
God.
also have a ton of journals because I was a journaler as well from like very, very young. And going back and looking at like little Nicole's dreams and passions and the things that she took so seriously, I love her. I really do. But I read some of them out loud to my friend Maggie, who I know you've spoken to on this podcast. I read some of them out loud, and Maggie was like, "Oh my gosh, I don't think we would have been friends. I don't think I could have handled how focused you were on like getting things done." She was like, "Were you a kid?" I was like, "I had rock piles. I played, and then I was also just very passionate about the amount of time that I had on this planet because I was aware of my impending mortality starting at age 6. So I was like, great, we've got things to do. So let's get to it, everybody."
I love that energy. I
That was
love it.
me.
I was too busy going, why don't boys like me?
Oh,
Like it
don't
was,
worry. There's definitely a few like, so he gave me nerds for Valentine's Day at the little like Valentine's Day card exchange in the third grade.
it's so even now I look at my diaries from last year and I'm like, oh my God, no, no.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
so
We love every
starting.
stage. I have that
No.
too. I have some where like I'll go through and be like, all right, this was a year where like everything is just like, hey, I think you're doing a great job today. Just a lot of like talking to self, just a lot of like talking yourself up. I'm like, oh, that's cute.
I need to do that more because somebody said to me recently, you know what, Claire? When you're gone one day, they're going to look at your diaries and think you had a terrible life. When do you ever write about good stuff? So I've started to go, I had a nice day today.
Really
Ice cream
grateful.
and stuff, and the sun was shining, but they're boring diary entries. You want a bit more drama? That's the
I don't
thing.
know. I try not to think of it as like someone's gonna read this, and I try to use it more as a like 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 a daily practice, like prayer and
Yeah, same.
meditation, like using it. So I occasionally will be like, actually, the journal entry today is just gratitude. Just
Mm.
I'm grumpy, I'm in a bad mood, and I don't want to just escalate why I'm in a bad mood. So today, all I'm writing is things that I'm grateful for. It will make me, pull my hair out maybe, but by the end of it, I usually am like, all right, so it's like not so bad.
You're right. You're completely right. When you start writing it down, it's completely fine. I've started to try and do that as well. Like and go, oh, because you always come out of it going, you know what, life's okay. Like it's
Yeah,
absolutely fine. I just need
it
to
is
like
comfortable.
just need to get into my pajamas and have a bowl of ice cream and we're
Light
gonna
a
be fine.
candle,
Light a
pet
candle, hug a cat.
a cattail.
Oh, an Aslan cattail. Speaking of gratitude and things, yeah,
Stop.
I like how she was like,
She's
no.
thinking she's ticked.
She's watching you now. She's like, okay, I'm watching you. Um, Gratitude and things, community.
Yeah.
I also stream on Twitch. I know what it's like to have a lovely community, some of which have joined you on Streamily. You've been streamily for a very long time since Streamily began, I think. What was that
I
first Streamily signing like for you?
think so. Yeah, I mean it would have been for like there was a mass influx of people excited about Resident Evil 3 once it came out and me and I was playing the game and people, we were still in kind of pandemic land. You know, it was right in
Yeah.
that 2020, 2021, somewhere in there.
Mhm.
You know, we just, there was no conventions, there was no ways to kind of meet people. And I had a lot of people being like, hey, I really want like a signed thing, or I want to add to my Resident Evil collection, like check out this cool XYZ. And people were sending me all sorts of like cool stuff from their different collections. So yeah, so Streamily really just showed up and made it so possible. And it was really, really cool and really, really powerful because it also built community in new ways, in that I suddenly kind of got to be introduced to people from all over the world who may not have uh, recognized or realized that, you know, I was the actor behind a character that they loved or something like that. So it was really cool for me. I can't, my first signing, I think it went well. I think it was like I was still working on tech stuff and like being live, which has its own, you know, barriers to entry sometimes. So I remember some of those first ones, I just went really, really long because I was like, well, I'm going to sign everything on camera because like if you got something, like I want to say thank you and talk to you directly. And so like I did everything on, and I would go for hours and hours and hours on those first ones. So they were long and also so exciting because I had people that would stay on for like all 8 hours
Oh my
of
goodness, 8
training.
hours.
Oh yeah, no, when I say hours and hours, I mean like I would do like really long ones.
Whoa, my gosh. How,
Um,
oh my good. But
so
now you've
because
learned to.
we were all stuck at home too.
True,
So you know what I mean? Like everyone was kind of stuck at home. So it was also just like a space to sort of talk to people and have friends.
true, true. Now though, you don't do the 8 hour Streamily sightings.
I
It's
try
it's
not to.
it's a little bit shorter now, but what is it you love the best about Streamily signings, apart from the fact, obviously, anyone can join in from all over the world and things like that? What is it you get out of it genuinely when you're doing it?
Um, I think it's really cool. I like having chat going and like being able to see people that are actually there, because otherwise it's kind of like you're sort of talking to yourself. But
Yeah.
when you get to see people's sort of responses and people in chat being like, "Oh my gosh, that's mine! Like I love it! I'm so excited!" Like that kind of engagement is really satisfying, and it feels less like, "Oh, I'm kind of like doing something in a void," and more like, "No, no, someone's really on the other side of this and is really, really excited to receive this thing that you know you've been a part of." So I love that. I love that we're able to kind of connect even if we don't get to meet in person. I've had people that have later kind of come up to me when I have been at an event or something that's closer to them, and they've showed up and been like, I feel like I know you. Like I actually have, you know, like a signed thing, and I just wanted to come say hello. And I just think that's so cool. It's very, very special. You're like, wow, and you get like their username, and you're like, oh my gosh, it's you, like face to the username. That kind of stuff is
I
is
love that.
is really fulfilling. So I love that, and you know, I also just got a lot of practice with Sharpies. Streamily taught me how to appropriately, you know, use and abuse metallic markers.
I love that. And tell me about your upcoming signing. I want to
Yes,
know all about it, the date, who's involved, because it's not just you.
yes. So July 1st, the fantastic Matt Mercer, Stephanie Panicello, and myself are going to be signing a print together for Resident Evil Death Island, is kind of like what we're promoting because it's been a year since the film came out. And when the movie first came out, SAG-AFTRA had gone on strike, and we were very, you know, away from all of the kind of direct engagement that happens after it comes out. So a year later, we're gonna do some Death Island signing. Stephanie plays Claire Redfield, I play Jill Valentine, and Matt plays Leon Kennedy. And so yeah, we're gonna do. That's our first time doing this kind of signing together as well, which is really cool.
Excellent. We're very excited for that. Um, Nicole, it has been wonderful chatting to you. Thank you for speaking to me for the Fan Service podcast. And we very much look forward to your signing. It's going to be awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. I can't wait to see you guys there and pop in and say hello. And yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, we'll see you soon. I've been Wee Clara. This has been Nicole Tompkins. Bye bye.